Hey everyone, it's another time to go racing in 1/64 scale. So we have this brand Sparky. I've got a few of these now, and this is the McLaren 720S GT3 from 2019. It's been opened, I guess, but yeah, I guess the seller wanted to make sure the thing didn't break off the stand, which I'm okay with. You know, I'd rather have a model show up in one piece and be opened than never be opened and then show up in pieces. So I'm okay with the tape stuff. Alright, a little research here says that this is the first GT model designed in-house by McLaren Customer Racing. And it's still supposed to be 90% different from the regular 720S. I couldn't find out the horsepower on this thing, but the regular 720S has 720 horsepower. So I'm gonna guess it still has around that same. Depends on how much boost, I guess. Ooh, that's so loose. Super loose. Be careful of that, guys. Yeah, so the boost can affect the horsepower. And so this thing is a twin turbocharged 4-liter V8, and it's rear wheel drive. And I guess it has a 6-speed transmission. And that's about the extent of what I learned about this vehicle. So let's get into this model now after I get off the base. What I do like about this brand here is this simple, no tool necessary base, but you have to turn it 90 degrees which way? Clockwise. So that's actually a little counterintuitive to do clockwise. Most of the time that means tighten something. Okay, let's take a look at these photos. Okay, interesting. I guess it's modeled after these photos. It's got the same number 3 on it. Sorry, now you can focus on the model. Okay, let's try the back view here. The wheels don't seem to have as many spokes, or no, I might be mistaken there. Alright, well, let's take a look here. Get the ruler out of the way. Get a better light angle. And here we go. So, unfortunately, you know, it has black wheels like the real cars, so it's kind of hard to see the niceness of them. But they actually are quite nice. I mean, look how thin these spokes are. So here's a dental pick, you know, something meant to get between your teeth. And look how thin the spokes are. Even if I go this way, you could floss your teeth with one of these spokes. So that's quite amazing. These might be the most delicate wheels I've seen. I don't think I've ever seen a wheel with spokes this thin, ever. So, unfortunately, you can see this. What is this, paint? I think that's casting. It's so strong. Oh, well, luckily it's gone. Alright, so now the question is, will this go up? Alright, so the wheel gap doesn't look... I think the axle might be bent. See how I have a suspicion the axle is actually bent. But, there. Now the wheel gap looks okay. So, I think it'd be... Yeah, I think the front and back wheel gap looks alright. Alright, now I'm trying to figure out, I think are these decals or tampos? This thing is a decal, this blue one. I can see the wrinkliness of it. But this 03, I can't figure it out. It's smooth, you know? I feel like the 03 is a tampo print. But here again, I think this might be a decal. This white stripe, and everything here is just clear decal. But around the 3, it just looks like... No, there it is. I think I do see the wrinkliness right here. So this must all be a decal here. Alright. Let me get the focus again. Yeah, but here it's just paint. You know, I can see how smooth it is here. How rough it is on the decal. So, alright. So that could become problematic in the future. It is nice that there's black paint here in this vent, though. A little black here on the top here, the side sill. And the fact that this, wow, that's a real vent there behind the tire. So you can see the little air gap of the tire, right? And it actually has 2 horizontal pieces there. So that's really interesting. Really good. Alright. So the mirrors have a little silver paint while we're at it. And look at, they're separate pieces because look how thin this stock is. Oh, it's rubbery. That's nice. Very cool. Mini GT style. Alright, Sparky, so very good. I'm pretty impressed so far. This canard here is looking good. I have a suspicion it's actually part of the casting. I don't see a break or any glue line right here, but it's so thin. It's one of the thinnest pieces of metal I've seen cast. Alright, I would assume. Usually you see these things a lot thicker, or separate plastic pieces, but you know, this I think is literally cast in there. Unfortunately, the black paint, or maybe this is a decal also, it's not covering the leading edge. And also, actually, it's not on the real photograph. So, that's interesting. Alright, this little chin lip here must be part of the base. It's got a really fine orange stripe going around the rim of it, so it's pretty nice. This thing here is very thin, as you can see. It's part of the plastic base, so it can be molded thin. There's a little texture in here. It feels like plastic. I think it's part of the base. Here, I don't know. I think this whole black thing might be part of the base, part of the same molding. So it's nice that it's got all these little details, you know, textures and stuff. The headlights, I think, are just painted silver. Yeah, that's just silver paint. I guess it's alright. They're such small headlights that they don't look too bad. It's really splotchy silver, though. Whereas this is much finer. This printing here, so it's actually kind of weird. This is like a tampo print, it looks like, this little rectangle. But this looks like it's almost hand painted with a really coarse silver. So it's a strange decision. Maybe, I don't know, does it make sense to have a different texture for these two different lights? Alright. So this is all decal here as well. Sorry, let me focus there on this text here. The Richard Millier. Yeah, you can see the the graininess of the decal, whereas next to it right here is all super smooth paint. Okay, so well, like I say, it is applied nicely. And way down in here, again, it's probably part of the base, but you can see some radiator fins, so that's nice. I mean, that's a really deep fin. It's touching the bottom of the car, I think. There's a little molded in raised wiper blade painted black. Another decal here. This side. No quality problems. I'm now seeing there's a opening here for the window, so that's kind of neat. A little ribbing there, some vents. Going to the back. Well, it does look like that McLaren is legible. Yeah, there it is. So that's legible. This is printed on. I think these are a bunch of LEDs. It's a little crooked. Well, it's not in the center. It's offset to the right a bit. I don't know what these are. Oh, these are supposed to be the exhaust tips. Kind of lame exhaust tips, how they're rounded off. They're almost domed. I don't know why they wouldn't have molded these flat with a depression in the middle of them. So that's a really strange decision. You know, whoever designed the mold for this thing. Okay, some vents molded in here look pretty nice. And then the diffuser vanes, part of the base again, they're plastic, they're pretty nice. And this red paint here, yeah, it is red paint. It's applied really well for the taillights. Okay. And then the wing is nice. I mean, it's not very white plastic. It doesn't look comical like a Hot Wheels. So it's actually quite thin. And then there's some curvature here to the bottom of the wing as well as the top. Uh-oh, is this yeah, that's a decal, so you can see me here in this air pocket. Yeah, decal. Alright, so that seems alright, I guess. On the top, this is plastic. Oh, see, look at that air pocket of the decal. That's really bad. This whole giant air pocket, so this is why I don't like decals. It literally changes the shape of the bodywork, right? That should be a a sharp recess, but it's not because there's an air pocket. Why wouldn't they have painted this whole thing black? But instead they chose to decal the whole thing black. So that's not good. Yeah, literally I just pushed it into the crevice there. See? Look at that. So that's not good. You know, I shouldn't have to do this sort of stuff. This is stuff that should have been done at the factory. Alright. But that you can't push because it's gonna, I think it's gonna tear if you try to push that down too far. So that's too bad. Okay. Other molded in details and stuff, but just covered up by the decal. So it's interesting. You got the crevice here by the door. It goes pretty far down. That's really deep. It's quite impressive, actually. So I think I know what's going on now. I think this edge here is the metal casting. Everything inside of this is a piece of plastic, and so that's why this can go down that far, because you can see the seam right here, right? So this is plastic, what I'm touching right now, but this over here is the metal. So it's an effective way of, you know, simulating the depth of that crevice. Some casted in vents, no black paint though, down in those. Okay. Well, it's alright. It looks nice. It's just long term, don't know what's going to happen with these decals. Well, I can pretty much guess though, at least right here, the decal is going to harden because it's plastic, and then if you touch it again, it's going to crack. Right now, it's just a new model. It has a little pliability to it, but it doesn't look very nice. Okay. Let's compare it to a couple other cars here in my collection. I got a couple other McLarens to show off. Alright, so we'll start with going way back in time, the one that started it all for me, the McLaren F1 GT3. This is by Kyosho. This is the one that went out and won Le Mans outright against purpose-built race cars. So that's why I like McLaren as a brand. I mean, they were really an F1 manufacturer, and then they decided to make road cars later. So they definitely know how to make a good road car, seeing how their history is based in racing. This next one is by Kyosho again, but this is the 12C GT3. So it's an earlier generation of GT3. Okay. And then a 675 LT Coupe is coming up, made by Granny and Partners. I think it's part of that hypercar collection that they did. Okay. This next one is by Mini GT. It's the McLaren Senna. Get this guy out. And it's a very polarizing styling on that Senna. I think it's an ugly car. But Mini GT did a good job simulating a lot of it. And I don't get many opportunities to show off my own design. So this is the what I call the short track racer, the McLaren STR. It's a single-seater. And it's influenced by aquatic animals. That was my design thinking there. Okay, time to spin alone. Well, so the Sparky models, they're not very expensive. So you have to take that into account. It's I guess it seems to be a trend that a lot of these companies are using decals to simulate deliveries. I don't know if it costs a lot to make tampo prints, or if these brands are just being super cheap, you know, going with the easy route of, you know, putting decals on instead of investing in tampo printing. So it's a strange thing going on in the industry. what bothers me is, you'll get tampo print on the Hot Wheels. So it's kind of, to me, seems inexcusable to be using decals when a Hot Wheels will do it the proper way. Thinking about long-term longevity. If you're thinking about long-term, use, you go with tampo prints because it's literally paint, right? But the whole decal thing, it's not meant to last. So it's definitely not meant to be played with because it's a soft, thin material. So, what do you guys think about that? I don't know. Alright, well, I guess whenever Sparky comes out with some cool new castings, I'll continue to buy them. This definitely isn't the greatest model out there, but it's also not the most expensive model out there, so I can actually look past the shortcomings that it has. You'll notice I didn't even talk about the interior. It's just a black molded plastic, so without a flashlight, you're not going to see much of it, so I'm not going to bother this time around. Alright, well, I guess I'll catch you guys at the next race. See ya.